Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Stedman. In this video I want to teach you how to knit this beautiful cable sweater. It is for a newborn to 3 months. It's very easy to do and I will give you the step-by-step instruction. And here is the list of materials you're going to need to make it. To make this baby sweater, the yarn I'm going to use is the same that I use for the newborn baby cable hat. It's Red Heart Comfort Sport Light 3, 100% acrylic. The color is white. And I have here around 180 grams, give or take. The netting needle are 5 millimeters. You're going to need a crochet hook, one of these pins for putting some of the work aside, and a cable needle. You're gonna need tapestry needle and scissor, needle and thread, and buttons for the sweater. I don't know the amount of buttons that I'm gonna need, but I have these ones here that I bought at the Dollar Tree. They're made of wood and they have these cute little owls in it. So I think that's it. That's what we're gonna need to do this newborn baby cable sweater. We're gonna cast on 66 stitches. So if you want this sweater a little bigger, what you're gonna do is change the size of the needle and the size of the yarn, and your sweater will be bigger. So we're gonna cast on 66 stitches. So I'm gonna wrap my yarn on the needle 33 times, and once I have the 33 times, I will pull that, fold it in half, and give a little extra, and I will have enough tail for casting on my 66 stitches. Once you have your tail, you're gonna do a slip knot, and that will be the first stitch, the loop. You put it through your needle, and you're gonna cast on like this your 66 stitches. And something else that I forgot to mention, you need a piece of paper and a pen or pencil to keep track of the rows that you're doing and each time you have to cross the cable. Once you finish casting on your 66 stitches, you're gonna do a knot to secure the first one, but not too tight. And this will be the right side of the piece. We're gonna start with 2 purl, 1 and 2, and then 2 net. We're gonna create a border for the sweater of 2 net or 2 purl, 2 net on the right side, and then the wrong side will be 2 net, 2 purl. One and 2 net. Like this, you're going to continue all the way to the end. Now I'm going to do my last 2 stitches, and they are 2 purl. So you're going to start with 2 purl and you're going to finish with 2 purl, always on the right side. And then the wrong side, that's row number 2, you'll start with 2 net and you'll finish with 2 net. And you're going to do this repetition of these 2 rows for 6 rows. Once you finish row number 6, we're going to start working the top of the sweater. once you have your 6th row, it will look like this. Now we're going to start working in row number 1 of the design, and this is in the right side of the piece because the tail is in the front. And we're going to start with 2 pearls, 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 2 net, 1 and 2, 2 pearl, 1 and 2. Now we're going to do 6 net, and these 6 net will be for the cable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and that's the repetition that we're gonna do. Now we go back to 2 pearl, 1 and 2, 2 net, 1 and 2, 2 pearls, 1 and 2, and 6 net. You're going to continue doing this all the way to the end, and you're going to finish at the end with 2 pearl, 2 net, and 2 pearl, the same way that you start the first 6 stitches. It will look like this. Now I'm going to finish row number 1, and you see I have 6 stitches, and I'm going to do 2 pearl, 2 net, and 2 pearl, and that was row number 1. In the entire piece we're going to repeat row number 1 and 2, only when we do the cable that we have to cross the cable, those 6 change to cross the cable. Everything else stays the same. Now in row number 2 we're going to do 2 net, 2 pearl, 2 net, and 6 pearl. And again you're going to do this repetition all the way to the end, and you're going to finish with 2 net, 2 pearl, and 2 net. We're going to start again with 2 net, 2 pearl, 2 net, and 6 pearl. Here I'm going to finish row number 2 with 2 net, 2 pearls, 2 net, and that's the end of row number 2. Now you're going to repeat row number 1 and row number 2, and in row number 5 we're going to do the first cable. Now we're going to work on row number 5, and will be the repetition of row number 1, only when we are doing the cable part is different. Everything else stays the same. So it's 2 pearl, 2 net, 2 pearl, and now we're going to do the cable. So we're going to pass the first 3 stitches and the cable needle, bring it to the back, and we're going to knit those other 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to work the other 3 stitches. You can pass it through the needle to the other needle like this, or you can work this with the cable needle. I will show you both ways. So I pass it to this needle, and I'm going to knit these 3. And then we start again with 2 purl. You see, this stay the same. 1 and 2. 2 knit, and 2 purls. 1 and 2. Now we're going to do the cable again. Pass these 3 to the cable needle, bring it to the back, and knit these other 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to work with the cable needle those other 3. You see, you can do either way. Don't matter if the cable needle is a little smaller than the needles that you're using for the sweater. Now you start again with 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and the cable. And you're going to repeat this all the way to the end, and always doing the cable in the 6th net. I finished row number 5, and now in row number 6 is the repetition of row number 2. You're gonna do 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 6 purl. That's the 6 of the cable. And you're going to continue doing this all the way to the end. And you're going to finish with 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net. Here I finished row number 6. And now from row number 6 to row number 14, you're going to do the repetition of row 1 and 2. You see? Row number 6 was the repetition of row number 2. Now row number 7 will be the repetition of row number 1. And like that, you're going to continue until row 14. In row 15, you're going to repeat what you did in row number 5. That was the cable. You cross the stitches for the cable. And then you're going to continue doing the same repetition of the other stitches of those 2 rows until row number 24. Row number 25, again, you will cross the cable. So you will cross you will do the cable in row number 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, every 10th row. This one here will do this one in 5, after 5, because we have this space here and we don't want the cable to be all the way up here. Okay, so I'm gonna work off camera doing from row number 7 to 14, and then in row number 15 I will show you how to do the cable again, and from there you can do it by yourself until you have your desired length. I work until row number 14, and now I have to do the cable again in row number 15, and it looks like this. Now I'm going to work on row 15. In row 15 is the repetition of row number 1, 2 purl, 2 net, 1 and 2, 2 purl, And now we're going to work on the cable. We're going to separate the first 3 stitches, bring them to the back with the cable needle, and net the other 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to work the other 3 stitches that you have in the cable needle. And like this, you're going to repeat this piece until you have 52 rows. And row number 53, we're going to separate the shoulder, the collar, and the other shoulder, because we're going to work this in one piece. So remember, it's in row 52 that you finish working your piece. So I'll meet you here for row number 53. So by accident, I deleted the part where I separate the shoulder and the collar and the other shoulder. So I will try to give you the best explanation that I can. That way you can work this by yourself. It's very easy. So you work until row 52. Row number 53 is a repetition of row number 1. And you're going to work that row number 1 repetition only in the first 18 stitches. So it's 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl. Once you get to the 6th net here, you're going to start casting off in a purl stitch 30 stitches. The 30 stitches in here. And then after that, you'll have 18 left, and that will be 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 2 purl in the other side. So when you cast off these 30, what you do is these 18, you will place them in one of these pins, and you put it aside to work later. You're going to continue working in these 18 in here as the stitches go. The repetition of row 1 and 2 plus the cable. So you're going to do those 18 in row 53, come back row 54, work those 18, and then row 55, you cross the cable, in 65, 75, 85, 95, 105. In total, before I did the border, the 6 row border here, I did 106 row. From the beginning here, after we did the 6 border here, we start with row number 1, until here, that was row number 106. And then after that, I start with my 6th row of border of 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 2 purl. And it's like this at the end. Okay, so I hope you guys understand this. So it's 18 stitches for each shoulder, and you are going to continue working the same design only in these 18s, you see, in here. So sorry about that I deleted these. I had a very frustrated day yesterday, looking everywhere on my computer, and what happened was I recorded that part in a different video and I forgot all about it, and I deleted that part of that video, and then went the part of the shoulder at this one. So a very frustrated day yesterday. So I hope you guys understand this. This 18 is the continuation of this here, all the way to the end. Okay, I already cut the tail and I have 1 stitch, so I'm gonna pass the tail through that stitch or loop. I'm gonna secure there, and we're done that side. Now we're gonna work in the other side. Now we're gonna place back our stitches into the needle, and you have to start from the right side, facing you, and from the outside in, That way the needle is in the right way to start working in the inside part of the piece, okay, the wrong side. Once you have your 18 stitches back into your needle, you're going to turn your work around, and with the help of a crochet hook, you're going to come here and you're going to pass it through, and you're going to get the yarn, and you're going to pass it through and secure here with a knot, and later you'll lose that tail. And now this will be row number 54, exactly the same as the other side. So you're gonna work the stitches as they supposed to be from row 54 to 106. And remember, the next row is 55, you do the cable, and then in row 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, and then you do 106. And then after that, you will do the 6th row of 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net. And then you have finished exactly like the other side that you did. So, and here, you work the stitches as you see them. This is row 54. So these are 2 net. And then 2 purl, 2 net, 6 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and then in the next row I will show you how to do the cable, and then from there you can continue all the way to the end exactly like this piece. Row 55, you're gonna do exactly the same that you did in the row 55 on the other side. So you're gonna do the 2 purl, 2 net, two purl, and then you're gonna do the cable, and you're gonna continue working the same amount of row that you did in the other side that you will do in this one. And you have to do the border of the 6th row of 2 by 2, 2 purl and 2 net. You'll cast off those 18 stitches, and after that we will be working and the front part here that go all the way around, and after that we do the sleeve and we have done our little sweater. Once you finish the back and the 2 little strips for the front, it will look like this. So now we have to work in a piece that go in the center here, because if we leave it like this, it will look just like this. So now we have to do a piece that go all the way around here in the front to do the overlap, and we're gonna do that like a rib stitch. So we almost done this part. Now we need to cast down 24 stitches for the front. So you're gonna wrap around your yarn on your needle 24 times. And always leaving a little extra. You will do the slip knot, and that loop will count as stitch number 1, and then now you have to cast down 23 more for a total of 24. Once you finish casting on your 24 stitches, this will be the first row on the right side, and you will do a row of purl in all your 24 stitches. So you're going to purl all the way to the end. This part is really easy. It will be the repetition of 6 rows. Now we're going to work on row number 2, and that entire row will be a net row. Now we're going to work on row number 3, and that row number 3 is a purl row. Now we're going to work in row number 4, and that row is a purl row. So row number 3 was a purl, and row number 4 is a purl row. Now we're going to start in row number 5, and it's a net row. Now we're going to work in row number 6, and row number 6 is a purl row. I finished those 6 rows, and those 6 rows that you did is the repetition that you're going to do in the entire piece. So now in row number 7 will be the repetition of row number 1. Row number 8 will be the repetition of row number 2, and row number 9 the repetition of row number 3, and so on. So I recommend a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and write all the amount of rows that you need. That is 189, and in the side you put which repetition it is. That way it's easier for you. That's what I did for mine. So row number 188 is the repetition of row number 2. That's a net row. And row 189 is the repetition of row number 3, and that's a purl row. So you're going to cast off with the purl row. In row number 26, I will show you how to do the buttonhole for your piece. So I will work this repetition until row 26. Here in row number 26, I want to do some buttonhole because these buttons are quite big. Usually if they're a smaller button, I don't do a buttonhole. What I do is with my needle, I separate the stitch and I pass the button through the little hole that I will create, and with time that it'll get bigger. But these ones are too big to pass through that tiny little space. So here is row number 26. Let me put it the right side. In here, you see the first buttons will be in here, and then the next one around here, and the next one around here. So depend on the size of the button, you will do buttonhole or not. So row number 26 is a net row. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna net 3, and remember you only have to do the buttonholes in one side of this piece. The other side is for sewing the buttons. I net 3. Now I need to do a yarn over. So what I'm gonna do, so with netting, is bring the yarn to the front, and I'm gonna do 2 together and a net stitch, and that create that yarn over. The extra stitch that we need in here, you see, in here. So now I'm gonna net 2, 1 and 2, and again the yarn to the front, 2 together and a net stitch. Make sure that these are not the nicest needle to work with. So I'm doing my yarn over here, and then these 2 together. I create another space. I'm gonna net 2, again yarn to the front, and 2 together. Net 2. This go like this. Yarn to the front and 2 together, and at the end you will have 3 net to do, you see. So that's what creates the little buttonhole, and I created 4, so you can close your little sweater in any of those 4 spaces that you created here. You see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here we're going to work on row number 27, and row 27 is the purl row. It's like the repetition of row number 3. So you're going to purl all your stitches right until the end. So here is the yarn over, so you're going to purl that one like that. And again. And like that you created your buttonhole there. Nice and big. Here I finished row number 27, and it'll look like this. You see the little holes there. And you will work now on row number 28, that is the repetition of row number 4, and that is a purl row. You're going to continue working the design, those 6 rows, all the way around, and you will choose in which row you want to do the other buttonholes. So you will place your piece in here. You see, mine is in here. Probably around here I will do the other one, and around here the other ones. You see, the other row of little holes. So I will let you know in which row I did that for mine. And I'm going to continue working all this off camera. And what I'm going to do is almost like a small scarf. I'm going to be working this piece and measure all the way around this border here at the little sweater, and the back in here, and then the other side until I have the same length in here. See, nice and even to go all the way around. So I will let you know how many rows I do for mine and in which row I do the row of buttonholes. Here I have the length that I need for the front piece in here. So the row that I did was row number 188 here. That was the repetition of row number 2, and that was a net row. Now the next row is 189. It's the repetition of row number 3, and it's a purl row, and we're gonna cast off with that row. For the buttonhole, I did this one in row number 26, this one in row number 44, and this one in row number 62. I have a marker here because when I get to the center of the piece in here and I measure this to this, I mark it here, and then I did the same amount that I have in this side, I did in the other side. And that is how I have the exactly length for both sides at the front. Now to cast off, we're gonna purl the first one and the second one, and you're gonna pass the first one on top of the second. And like that, you're gonna cast off all the way to the end, and you're gonna cut the tail long enough for sewing the side of the piece. Here I have one stitch, and I cut the tail long enough for sewing. I'm gonna pass it through, and then now we're gonna sew this piece to the other one. Now you're gonna grab this piece and you're gonna start sewing in here. So it's better to do it in a flat surface because you don't want to stretch this to sew. You want to keep the same design of this in here. So you're gonna sew all the way around in here and all the way around to the other side in here. So this is the right side of the piece, because my tail where I started my piece is closer to the buttonholes. So this is the right side and this is the wrong side. And you're gonna sew all the way around with your tapestry needle. And then after that, we're gonna work on the sleeves. Here to help me to keep the piece in place, what I did with some needles that I have here from a project that I did before, I put it in different places to keep this in place. You see? Now when I start sewing in here, this is nice and even. If you want, with a different colored yarn, if you don't have some little pins or anything, you just pass it through yarn or thread all the way around, and then you can start sewing, keeping this in place. Okay, this is the way I'm gonna sew the entire piece. I'm gonna start through the bottom here, and I'm gonna secure the stitch very well in here. And I'm gonna be careful not to pull too tight, just nice and loose. And I'm gonna sew the entire piece all the way to the other end. Once you finish, it will look like this. If you don't want to do this with a sleeve, you just close the side here and leave the opening for the arm and place 4 buttons and you are done. We have this extra row of buttons hole here, but if we do more button here, this is to start to get a little too tight in the top. So it look better like this, and that as look like a design and there. So you just have to place 4 buttons and that's it. But if you want a sleeve, so I will do mine with a sleeve and I will show you how to do that. I made one of the sleeve off camera. That way I figured out the stitch and the amount that I needed. It took me 3 tries, but I finally figured it out. It looked really nice. So this part here is 15 net in the right side and 15 net in the wrong side. So the right side and the wrong side is net. Here is 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net for the cable, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 15 net. So it looked really nice, and look how it do this in the top for the sleeve. We're gonna start with this part here, and we're gonna cast on 24 stitches in here. So we're gonna do exactly as we did for the other casting on. You're gonna wrap your yarn on the needle 24 times, and then you slide your hand and you will leave a little extra tail. Now we're gonna cast on 4 stitches, so you'll do a slip knot, and that's count as the first stitch of 24. So exactly the same as you cast on for the other pieces. Once you finish casting on, you will do a knot to secure the first stitch. And we're going to work the border here in the right side, and we're going to start with 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, all the way to the end. Row number 2 again is 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and you're going to continue doing this until row number 7. In row number 8 we're going to do an increase on our stitches because 24 is not enough, so we want to have 48. Now in row number 8 is an increased row, and we're going to work a purl row. So you're going to grab that stitch from the bottom and put it on the top, and that will be the first increase. So you're going to do 2 purls, one and two, and that's one increase. Now you're going to grab the back strand at the next stitch. From the back to the front, you're going to do a purl, and you're going to keep the stitch on your needle, and in the front part you're going to do another purl, and that's the other increase. From 2 you have 4 now. Again, you're going to grab the one in the back, and I like to lose my back strand with my needle, that way it's easier. And then I will do, you see, from the back and that strand I will do my purl, that's the increase, and now the purl in the front. Again, see, I lose my strand in the back, and then from the back to the front, like that, you'll do a purl, and you keep that stitch on your needle, and again in the same stitch in the front part you will do another purl. Like this, you're going to continue all the way until the end, and you'll have 48 stitches. Here I have my 48 stitches, and now we're going to start the first row of the design, and we're going to do 15 nets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now we're going to do 2 purls, to net, two purls, and 6 net. The 6 net is for the cable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now again we do 2 purls. That's 1 and 2, to net, 1 and 2, 2 purl, and 15 nets. That's 15. We're gonna start row number 2, and row number 2 is the 15 net plus the 2 that were purl on the other side, they're net on this side, they're 17 net. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, plus the other 2, 16 and 17. Those 2 were purl on the other side, they're net on this side. Now we're gonna do 2 purls, 1 and 2, 2 nets and 2, and now 6 purl. Three, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're gonna do 2 net, 2 purls, and 17 net. The 2 plus the 15. We're gonna work on row number 3, and it's exactly the same repetition of row number 1. You're gonna do your 15 net, your 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 15 net. Now we're gonna start row number 4, and row number 4 is the repetition of row number 2. 17 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 6 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 17 net. And this is the repetition that you're gonna do in all the evens row. Now we're gonna work in row number 5, and row number 5 is the repetition of row number 1, except that we're gonna do the cable in this one. So you're gonna do your 15 net, your 2 purls, 2 net, 2 purl, and then the cable. Once you finish the cable, you will do your 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purls, and 15 net. Once you finish that row, you will continue with the repetition of those 2 rows, row number 1 and 2. The only thing that when you do the cable is the repetition of row number 1, just you cross the stitches in here. So it's not a big thing different. But it's the repetition of those 2 rows, row number 1 and 2. And the right side is row number 1 and the wrong side is row number 2. And you will do the cable row number 5, row number 15, 25, and 35, and in row number 38, you'll cast off your sleeve. So it's very easy. And like I left here, this is the way I write my pattern in a piece of paper. I don't know how to write pattern, so this is how I know for myself. I hope you guys understand. And I'll see you here in row number 14. Here I did a mistake on purpose. That way I show you just in case, because in the right side, when you are working the net row, sometime I tend, I don't know you, to continue to the 2 purl because they look the same in here. So if you make the mistake, when you turn your work around, you will see that in these 2 net, you will have 2 purl. So what I do is these 2 purl. Now I'm here where I made the mistake. What I do is put my finger here and hold a stitch under this one. Take the yarn out. I pull it out completely. I bring it to the back, and then I pass that one in here to my needle, and I grab from the back like this. You see? And I put it back here, and then I net that one. You see, I fix it there. Now I'm gonna show you one more time. You hold it here, that way you don't lose the stitch. And you can do it as well with the crochet hook if you don't feel confident enough to do it with the same netting needle. You see I have the loop here. You pass your needle through the loop, and then you turn the yarn in the back, and you just pull it through like this, place it back, and then you can net the stitch. So it's very easy if you made that mistake to correct without leaving the mistake or undo your work. So So now you see you have to net the rest. I finished row number 14 and this will be row number 15. So we have to do the cable here. So what we're gonna do is do our 15 net or 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and then the cable. So I will do that off camera and I'll show you how to do the cable in here in those 6 net. Now I'm doing my last purl. Now I'm gonna do the cable again, and you will separate the first 3 in your cable needle, start to the back, net the other 3, and then net those in the cable needle. And like that you continue until row number 37, and in row number 38 you will cast off your piece. Here I want to give you a glance how was my morning today when I woke up to this snowstorm. It's beautiful. This is the first storm of the year. Amazing. I'm glad I took my fish out a few days ago. It is beautiful. I had to walk my dog in this weather. So imagine, look at that tree. Now in row number 38 we're gonna cast off, and we're gonna do it in a net stitch. So we're gonna knit 1 and 2 and pass number 1 and top of number 2, and again knit the next one and pass the one in the back and top of the one in the front. Like that you're going to continue casting off all the entire little sleeve. Here I have one left. I'm going to pull the needle and make this bigger. And I cut a tail long enough for sewing, so I'm going to pass it through here. And now we're going to sew the sleeve, and remember you have to do the 2 of them exactly the same. Here I have the 2 sleeves. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the sweater, and we're going to start sewing the sleeve from the center here and here, and from the center here and here. You're gonna do the same on the other side. After that you fold it like this, and you're gonna sew the bottom of the sleeve and the body of the sweater, and after that you will sew the buttons and you are done. I will do this off camera and I'll show you the end result. Before I start sewing mine, I wanted to show you a better way to put in place the sleeve is to mark with the marker the center of the shoulder on both sides and the center of the sleeve, and with pins or needles you pin them in place, and then it's easier for you to sew. That way they are both the same. And I recommend to cut a strand of yarn long enough for sewing. So when you start sewing from the center, you leave a tail long enough for sewing from the center this way after you finish sewing this way. I finished sewing the sleeve, and I don't show it in camera because if you see other of my videos, you know how I sew my pieces, so you can guide yourself from those. Now is where we're gonna place the buttons, so you have to mark exactly where the buttons in here. So I don't know the sex of the baby yet, but you can find buttons that go either with boy or girl, or you can put just, if it's a girl, something like this. These ones are so cute, the little cute owls like this, if it's a girl. And if you don't know if it's a boy or a girl, you get some colors that it will look fine for both sex. So you can put them like this, you see, or you can put all of the same color, or you can put them like this. It's up to you. So I'm gonna sew mine off camera. I'll show you that. Well, I finished sewing my 4 little buttons, so now we're gonna close the front of the sweater. Like so. Look how beautiful this newborn baby sweater look. It's from 0 to 3 months. It look fantastic. It look fantastic with the little hat. And I think I'm gonna do a pair of booties that will match this set. And if you like, you can place a button here. Or just a sec. I don't have any of the big ones this color. So let me get a little one. So you can place a little one here or more in here, just in case you have to fold this out here, you know, like unfold. It will be in here and no hiding inside. So I think I'm gonna do that. That way the set match. So it look amazing. And like I said, in my next video I will show you how to do a pair of booties that will match this set. Well, I hope you guys like it and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this piece and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Stedman, or you can find me in my Instagram, Ruby Stedman Crochet. Please share my video with friends and family, that way you help me grow here in YouTube. And don't forget to check my other videos. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.